Hey everybody, it's the Redstone Wizard here again, bringing you another Redstone tutorial. What I got for you today is an advanced version of what I've seen most people build for the Crafter. Yep, so this is the basic version. Yeah, I know. You know, you can partially see the advanced one on the right hand side of the screen, but yeah, pretty much the way that this one works is you got your items in from left to right, right to left. It pretty much the closest to the crafter is the first item, and you put them in one at a time. In here I've got pistons, so if I just start activating this just to get the items in here and just flip this trap door, items will go in and we get a piston now. And that's fully automated, and yeah, it works fine. But how long do you have to wait for a chest of pistons? A lot, quite a length. So what we got here is a cyclic system, a piston feed tape for the crafter. Now, unlike this one, with the sheer amount of crafters, you don't want to spend all the time crafting them up, so we got a filtration system for blockers. This one, the way that it's set up for the right side, and we're crafting the exact same thing, pistons. So, and yeah, like I said, you need filters for this. So with the pistons, let's get about a stack in, because it actually goes fairly fast compared to that one. Yeah, that one you start crafting earlier, but you're only doing one every so often. So yeah, we got now stacked. So let's activate this, and yes, it does take a bit to activate. It does take a bit for the pistons to start crafting with this. And yes, you could craft anything you want. With some exceptions, at least when it comes to space, and that would be like dispensers, minecart stuff, minecart hoppers, chests, TNT minecarts, all of that, and that's because of the non-stackables. So I didn't even see how long it was when that one started, but now we are getting every about every 10-12 ticks we're redstone ticks, so about every second or so we're getting another piston, while this one 25 13, and this one's been going longer. So, and as you can tell, it's going fairly rapidly. And that's because instead of just doing one craft at a time, which we are setting up for the next craft while we are crafting. So it's like taking this single crafter right here, putting in all the items, and as it is crafting, having it already filled up, which you could do, but you'll have to get with most of the time with a single crafter, get lucky. You really can't create a system to consistently craft other things. But this will craft up every single thing, and if we look in here, piston, 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 yeah. 50, I bet this has 40. Oh, 38, yeah, see, this is already outpacing it. So, and that's pretty much for major crafting sessions. I do recommend something similar to this because it's small, easy, and fairly rapid. While that is used for things like minor little crafting that you only need not much of, but too much for you to actually just craft. Well, actually, if for more automated type things. But yeah, so what do you say, guys? let's get to building this thing. Okay guys, we're back, and like always, everything we need to build that, which we still have processing, is inside the shulker box. Now, some of the stuff you could change, some of the stuff I don't recommend changing, but there is, all the glass blocks are not necessarily required. You could use solid blocks. I just preferred having the glass blocks so that when you process, it is as if it show that you don't need to have it to be solid. So the glass blocks are specifically for nothing. There is nothing that will change how the system works if you if it is required. I'll say this has to be, but if it's not, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, so yeah, we have all of these: 38 dust, 3 redstone blocks, 4 torches, 12 repeaters, 17 comparators, 19 sticky pistons, 3 pistons, 29 hoppers, 8 observers, and the hoppers, observers, some of the dust, and some of the comparators are specifically for the filtration system, which is whatever type of filter system you want. I'm using a very specific one that's using copper bulbs. 10 droppers, 25 crafters, 20 target blocks, 1 immovable block for safety reasons, 1 item that can hold a signal strength without really altering it, so I'm using a cauldron, 4 barrels, 1 block that you can craft into and decraft from, so things like iron blocks, gold blocks, iron ingots, gold ingots, all the raw blocks, diamond blocks, all of those. As long as you can decraft it into its base component, then recraft it into it, that's what you're going to need. 59 transparent blocks that you can place redstone on, 26 solid blocks, and I'm using 51 filter blockers, 12 filler slots. Rotten Flesh has no crafting recipe, so it's great for this. 3 bulbs and a button. So if we take all of that, break the box, first thing we want to do is take our crafters and place it down. Place 1 down, and we're going to go 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to be our initial 9, and we're going to go 2 more past there, so 11. And then we're just going to fill this up and add another one. So 11 and 12. Grab your droppers. You're going to first place a temporary block on the back of this with a dropper. And then we're going to put 8 more droppers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now these are your crafting. These are for the crafting. And then we're going to take our hoppers, put them going into the crafters, and then a set going into the droppers. Now these hoppers up top are your hoppers that you are going to fill the system. So if you want to craft up whatever with this setup, here's going to be slot 1. You can mirror this so that this is slot 9 and this is slot 1. Just got to know which side the first item is getting filled into. So, and that's for me is going to be right here. Then we're going to grab our sticky pistons and our regular pistons. We're going to take a temporary block, place a sticky piston there. We can bust that, put a temporary block there, piston, and throw a torch on the side of this piston. Now the sticky piston, I'll extend the regular piston. Then over here we're going to throw a temporary block right there with a piston there, temporary block right there, Throw a piston there, a torch, and then we will throw a block there with a repeater. Leave that repeater alone. The reason is because we don't want anything, we don't want things to try to craft here. If we use a dust doesn't entirely doesn't entirely change. Actually, with the torch it would, but this we need a slight delay. That's the only reason why, just a slight. Now grab your grab your obsidian and throw it at the end of this piston, right next to this piston to this line. It's not going to push it further. And yeah, I know I should put something here, but it's fine, it works. Now on the back side, we need to place a 1 block down and 1 block over. Grab your sticky pistons, and on behind every dropper, put a sticky piston facing up with a target block on its side. Then on this sticky piston also, we're going to place another sticky piston and grab our observers pointing towards this target block. We're going to place a observer. You're like, that's not going to do anything. Well, yeah, I know. But right here, on all these target blocks, place glass, grab your dust, place dust. Now grab your target blocks again, and under all of these pistons, the same ones that have them, we're just pretty much going to duplicate the target block setup, and then we'll go 1 extra over and throw dust on all of these. And here we're going to take and throw a comparator with a dropper on the glass block here, pointing up. Then we will grab our crafters, point a crafter up, a crafter over, grab your hopper going in. I use a barrel for this, and a hopper going into there. And in this top one, we're going to throw our raw iron for me. You don't have to use raw iron, but I'm using raw iron. Remember, it has to be able to decraft and then recraft. So something like that is safe. Then we're going to grab our solid blocks, throw a solid block there, a solid block there, and a solid block there. Go 1 down, put a block, put a solid block next to it, put a dust here, put 1 block over with a block going up, put a 4-tick repeater right here, grab yourself a sticky piston and put it right on top of the repeater with a redstone block. So now when this activates, it's going to activate the sticky piston, turning off the torch, pulling this one back, pulling this back when that piston goes down, and pushes it out into the next one. Also, it's going to activate this line to dispense an item from the dropper. Yeah, it can get fairly confusing. But next is we're just going to make a line of blocks all the way down until we are in line with this piston, where we will throw a solid block, solid block next to it with a sticky piston and a redstone block. And the reason why you are not using observers here is because we want a little delay. we want them to stay powered a little bit longer. So don't try to switch this with an observer. I've already tried it, doesn't work. Then we're going to put a 4-tick repeater here, a 4-tick repeater here, solid blocks here, and dust the rest of the way. So now we have a delay between all of these. Next is we're going to take and put a sticky piston here. Gonna bust that out. Put an observer on his face. So now, after the item gets crafted and ends up in the dropper, we're going to push things up and it's going to start flipping up all of these target blocks, which then is going to get powered. And we just need a simple little clock for that. So we are going to throw a we would need a clock, so I can't remember what side it's on. Behind it, okay. And whatever block you want, 2 and then 1 there. We're going to throw a repeater set to 4 ticks here, repeater set to 4 ticks here with dust on it, a solid block in front of it, and a torch on side of that block. We're going to take a solid block and throw it down here. Okay, now that's our clock, because all we have to do is move this block up 1 to start the processing. So to do that, we're going to take a sticky piston, point it down with 1 block above that, and we're going to place another sticky piston facing upwards right underneath it. Here we are going to take, leaving a gap so that we can place our sticky piston there with an observer pointing down. This is the only block this block I recommend keeping as transparent, because, or you could actually have it as air, but a repeater, dust, dust, dust. In fact, actually, let's switch this up a bit. Let's move this over 1. Because if I remember right, we could actually have that little space and still get the same results. Yeah, nothing's going to interfere with that. Okay. So we've got that. Now we need to take a piston, set it right here with a observer pointing towards the block, a solid block 1 gap away with a torch. That's just going to, when it's over, craft everything up. So because when it's over, it's going to craft everything up, we need to stop the clock. So 4-tick repeater going into a sticky piston with an observer pointing down, going into a block. That will stop the clock. That will stop the system from processing once it's done. So, how do we tell when it's done processing? Well, if we come over here to our crafters, on the first one here, right past, we are going to take and throw a comparator, another block, a repeater set to vortex with a solid block, a glass block, another solid block, and then we're going to rotate 90 degrees, throw a vortex repeater here, we're going to throw dust here, and then we're going to throw a solid block here, and we're just going to make a little line, and we're going to make another little line right next to it, one block down. We're going to place the dust here and a dust here. Because we don't want these interacting, we're going to throw a solid block on top of those. 4 comparators pointing along this glass line, and 4 pointing along the other line. Now you can just do it this way. Repeater, boom, like that. I prefer, and if it's more control, but this will help out. You could have it like that, you're fine. Now the last thing to do is, but like I said, I prefer having pistons read out of solid blocks, and it is actually a little bit a little bit slower with that piston activating. It's the same as if the very end it's reading, and that's the only reason why I have this. In fact, if you just don't even want, if you just want to keep it small, add another dust and rotate it 90 degrees. Where's my water bottle? And a single. And if you're running cauldrons, cover them. If you're running composters, don't worry about it. Barrels, whatever, just anything that'll give a signal strength of 1. And this one on subtract mode, because signal strength 15, 15, 15, 15, which puts this out at 15, which then reads here. So every cycle you're scaling down 1, and which means it has to go through 16 cycles before it turns off. And that's reading cycles, not processing cycles, because every processing cycle is a little bit different. Okay, so now here we're going to throw our pistons right, throw our sorter, our blocking sorter right here. And like I said, I'm not using the standard sorter, I am using a modified version. This one is I want to get things away from it. This is a small, actually no, you go here, because I'm only expecting certain items. And if you want, you could throw a solid block there. Yeah, and dust. Yeah, the basic sorter, and it's because I wanted it to be able to tuck them under here and not worry about items getting stuck. So then we're going to take our filter items, boom, boom, and yes, this one, you're going to need more of these. Make sure you rename them properly, and however you want to set these up. So if I come over here, do I got any? Yes. If I take these and throw them in here, obviously they're going to drain. But if I take any other item that would be crafting, it won't go in. And these are only used as space fillers for the same method as if you're going to block off a single slot or slot of 4. Single slot, a slot for making hoppers. If you really want to be a pain, set up for torches on this side or whatever. Anything to reduce the processing, and then just connect this to whatever system you want to collect, condense, and send back up to the top so that you can craft whatever you want. Now we're just going to take a couple of spaces and we'll just throw a redstone block. I like going roughly in the middle. In fact, the middle is probably the best thing for most people. And then you can throw whatever system you want for the items to collect. And that's it. So let me gather up some resources and we will give this thing a... Actually, I forgot. I did come a little bit prepared. Okay, so we are going to craft up some pistons. So cobblestone, redstone, cobblestone, cobblestone, iron. Redstone, cobblestone, 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 planks, planks, planks. Okay. Now, the last thing I forgot to mention was we are going to take, and based on your floor, it's literally, if you want your floor at this level, you would want the button there. If you want it higher, it is strictly up to whatever level you want, because all you have to do is, for me, it is boom. Ready to go. Now this is going to craft up a box's this is going to craft up. This has enough ingredients to craft up shulkers. And as you can see, it is already starting to process. And because of how this part of the system works, it registers an item and then it just doesn't do anything after it's done. And now it's registered that there's items in the system, and it pulses off, hence why we have the repeater and the repeater here to keep this constantly powered at a 15 signal strength until it is ready to, well, this side's a 15 and this side's a 14. Until it is ready to turn off. And as you can see, we've still got some crafting going. We've got almost a half, we got a little over half a shulker box and not even a quarter, not even a third of it. So yeah, speed versus, yeah. And it was, and the whole point of this is speed. And I think we already got 30. And it hasn't been that long. And as you can see, they're all there. And that is because these get filled up. They don't, well, you don't need a double speed for this. You just slowly let these fill in until they are done. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down in the comment section. If it's a major show, I recommend you join my Discord. Link to that in the description. If you want a world download, the world download will be in my Discord under the Wizards Worlds. Wizard World downloads, actually. But if you want to support me, use the subscribe. But you guys, this is the Redstone Wizard. Enjoy building.